Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Monday. It's Monday. It's a new week. Still trying to get my brain back into working mode. But anyways, just going to stick with the simple stuff. Do the affirmators today, and I'll pull an Aloha card, because what the hell. Let's see. Did I? Oops. I guess I shuffled in the... Which, oh, there it is. Take that out. All right, let's pull an Aloha card, because this is the Aloha Keikaki Ikeikaki cards, and that means love one another. Love one another. And they're the cards, the actions of Aloha. They're the actions of Aloha was created to encourage love, compassion, and kindness in our communities. Aloha begins with yourself and encourages you to imagine how we can serve the world around us. Aloha has no boundaries and creates deep connections rooted in mutual empathy. Each card features a simple action of Aloha that reminds us that no good deed is too silly or small. Take a card for yourself or give one to a friend and challenge each other to share Aloha. No matter where we are or who we are, all we need is Aloha, period. That's all we need is Aloha, period. And it's true, you know, spreading Aloha, right? Aloha isn't just a word, it's a feeling. It is an action. You know, it's showing people that you care, and, you know, to show, again, compassion, love, and kindness to all. So, let's see. Come on. Come on. Let's see if one's going to pop out, or all right, we'll just randomly pull one. So this one is register to vote. There you go. Good morning, older sibling. Good morning, Muddy. So, okay, the Aloha card, register to vote. So, I'm going to leave that one alone. Anyways, say 3 things that you are grateful for. All right, say 3 things that you are grateful for. That is your thing today. Say 3 things that you are grateful for. So, there you go. All right, so today we have the affirmator cards. Sorry if I'm bringing the low energy. Like I said, I'm still trying to recombobulate. You know what? I'm going to shuffle these because it's been a while and I'm not sure. So, shuffle these. See, well, I guess that'll be the top. All right, let's see what we got today. Boundless love. Okay, boundless love. It's cute. I'm trying to figure out what that is. Is that an anteater? Walking in the clouds? I can't tell what that is. Or a platypus? What the hell is that? Honestly, I can't really tell, but there are bees flying around it, so it must be something interesting. All right, so today I'll open my eyes a little wider and walk a little taller, noticing that the world around me is filled with tiny miracles. With this in mind, it's easy to fall in love over and over again with everything from honeybees to neon signs. And while I'm feeling this inspired and this in love, everything else sort of falls into place. So again, the first one is me? Wait, sibling said the first one is you, but I already registered to vote. I already voted. Okay, but oh wait, in grateful for gratitude? I don't know. I'm guessing. I don't know. Sibling, you have to explain that one. Anyway, boundless love. Let's try this again. Today I'll open my eyes a little wider and walk a little taller, noticing that the world around me is filled with tiny miracles. With this in mind, it's easy to fall in love over and over again with everything from honeybees to neon signs. And while I'm feeling this inspired and this in love, everything else sort of falls into place. She's saying I'm the first thing to be grateful for. Same. Ditto. Ditto, ditto. Her and Muddy, my family, all in the top, right? So anyways, boundless love. Boundless love. So, you know, we were just talking about Aloha, right? And how Aloha is, what was it that I said? My brain. No boundaries, right? Aloha has no boundaries and creates deep connections rooted in mutual empathy. So, thank you, older sibling, for that, by the way. I needed that boost. But yeah, so, you know, when we talk, so it's probably no mistake that I pulled the Aloha card this morning because I was like, maybe I should just pull one when I wait for everyone to come on in the morning. But boundless love is like boundless aloha, right? And that's exactly what we were talking about. Again, when it says aloha has no boundaries and creates deep connections rooted in mutual empathy. But it's not just, deep connections rooted. Sorry, I don't know what's happening here. My glasses is trying to eat my hair. Sorry. Okay. So now you've seen my face. I'm not Superman anymore. I'm not incognito. Anyways, so, today when we're out and about, okay, or whatever it is you're doing, open your eyes a little wider, stand a little taller, walk a little taller, walk like you belong on this planet, walk like you have purpose. Even if you don't know what your purpose is for today, just walk like you own the world, all right? Don't be an asshole about it, but just, walk, sit up straight. I got a problem with that. Sit up straight, pay attention, look at the world, just look at the world, see what it has to offer. And, notice, and again, noticing that the world around me is filled with tiny miracles, and they are. If you see a bee by chance, a honeybee, okay, honeybees, according to science, have no real reason to be able to fly. They are a miracle. Their bodies are way too big for their wings, and yet there they are. They do it anyway, right? And they're cute and fuzzy. So, I want to pet one because they're so, anyway, bees. But with this in mind, it's easy to fall in love over and over again with everything from honeybees to neon signs. I love signs. I love neon signs. Especially at night, right? When you can see them and they're just so pretty and they just kind of, sometimes they can be a bit much and in your face, but they are, when we really look at them, they're so pretty and they're kind of a modern miracle, right? I mean, whoever thought, 200 years ago that we would have electricity, let alone, signs that basically just scream at you in a beautiful way. I know, right? Because they can be obnoxious, but at the same time, they're so pretty. So they're obnoxiously pretty. So, and let's see. And while I'm feeling this inspired and this in love, everything else sort of falls into place. So we talked about saying 3 things that we're grateful for. We talked about aloha and it being bound, having no boundaries. And now we're talking about this, boundless love. And it says, and while I'm feeling this inspired and this in love, everything else sort of falls into place. It's telling you to keep your brain and your mind and your soul and your vibe and everything else that kind of manifests everything else around you in a good place. That's why gratitude's important. When we start with gratitude during the day, I'm so happy and grateful for, even if it's just a new day. Be grateful. Start your day off with gratitude. Start your day off with saying, hey, I can do this. Even if I don't feel like it, I can push through and I can do this. Because, it's a new day. It's a new dawn. I got that song in my head now. So anyways, feeling good. But, feeling good. Was that Nina Simone? Okay, one of you girls got to tell me. Was that Nina Simone? Love that song. But I mean, it's got a bunch of different people who have redone it and, all pretty decent versions, might I add. But anyways, that's not what we're talking about. This is what I mean. I'm squirreling all over the place. So, I wasn't even sure I was going to come on and do the show today, but I thought I have to. So I put my makeup on, I got dressed and said, no matter how hard it is, whether it's long or short or whatever, just do it. Just do it. All right. So again, let's take this little by little. So today I'll open my eyes a little wider and walk a little taller, noticing that the world around me is filled with tiny miracles. Thank you, Sammy. I knew she'd know. So great song, by the way. So if you haven't heard it, look it up. Feeling Good, Nina Simone, with an E, Simone. So E. So anyways, okay, so we talked about that. Notice the little miracles around you, the flowers, right? Now, I know we're getting into the seasons now for some people. I mean, it's cloudy today and it's cooler, so that's our season. Trees don't necessarily lose their leaves around here because, it's still pretty sunny. So if you're a cow or a tree, this is where you want to be. I know we have a commercial out here, California cows. It's a dairy commercial, but California cows are happy cows. But anyways, I love cows. They're one of my favorite commercials. But anyways, so yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of looking around because it feels like fall now. It feels like fall. But the tiny miracles, right? The dragonflies, the butterflies, Butterflies are a huge miracle, right? I mean, they literally just, they're cute little caterpillars that dissolve into just a little barrel of goo and then come out a butterfly. I mean, wow, right? And the miracle in that too is that I was reading and I double checked because I first saw it on a meme and and then I kind of pushed it forward and I thought, I got to look this up. I've got to look this up. So, as it turns out, the butterfly, when they're pushing out of their chrysalis, I believe, is the cocoon, or maybe the chrysalis is when they're gooey. But yeah, but anyways, when they're pushing out of their cocoon, you cannot help them because it pushes all the fluids into their wings. So and that's what gives their wings the strength to fly. So when we talk about little miracles and we talk about everybody, kind of transformation and forming into, so and we compare people to butterflies, it's because we've pushed out of these cocoons. We've maybe had help with it, unlike the butterfly. Don't help the butterfly because it needs to, it's how nature works. All right. So but maybe we've had help. Okay, because we're humans and that's how we do it. But for the most part, we're the ones who have to do all the heavy lifting. We're the ones who have to push out of that cocoon and choose the path that we're on. And as we do that, it strengthens our wings. It gives us this power that, we often don't realize that we have. And a lot of times this is where the boundless love comes from. You yourself may be a miracle. Maybe you've overcome some very, very hard things in your life. Maybe you've overcome even addiction, right? I mean, that's a miracle in itself because every day you are fighting that. So, whatever it is, maybe you were a miracle at birth. Bestie was a miracle at birth. I mean, I'm pretty sure he might have been born almost dead or practically dead, but poof, the doctors brought him back. And, 52 years later, he's still here. So, I sometimes feel like I'm a miracle because at 3 years old, when I had my heart surgery, I was given a 50-50 chance of living because, come on, this was the 70s, right? And we didn't have a lot of major technology in the 70s. So I wasn't supposed to have the surgery till I was 5 years old. But they said I couldn't wait till 5. They had to take the chance. So 50-50 chance, right? Miracle, law, So anyways, so yeah, when we look around every day and we look at all the different things, look at the technology that's around us. Sometimes, it's a hit or a miss, right? Everybody, there are pros and cons to everything. There were pros and cons before phones were made. But at the same time, they do make life a little bit easier and a little bit safer. I remember when I was a kid having to find a pay phone to call somebody, and I mean, I think this... I think this is why the younger boomers and like the 60s boomers and the Gen Xers are just kind of like, oh yeah, like we just walk down dark alleys and don't care because we had to tough it out in those days. We didn't have cell phones to call people with. Okay, we or have a friend who had one so we could call mom and dad. All right, or have a computer that we could, say, hey, can you pick me up at this time, blah, blah, blah. No, we didn't. We had to wing it. We had to super wing it. Not that we made some good choices, but, it was an adventure. It was a serious adventure. So anyways, yeah, so with this in mind, it's easy to fall in love over and over again with all the different things. And I like this. And while I'm feeling this inspired and this in love, everything else sort of falls into place. Just trust and believe. I know it's hard, but just trust and believe. Oh, thank you, cousin. Oh, I will. I'll hug him for you. Okay. So yeah, thank you. Thank you, cousin. That's a very kind thing to say. I appreciate that very much. Um, so yeah, so this isn't going to be a long show. All right. This is definitely not going to be a long show. I don't have, like I said, my brain is still trying to, I don't know, still trying to break out of its cocoon. Who knows? But there's just a lot happening. My mind is just trying to settle, and it's squirreling in 9,000 directions right now. So this will be a short show. But yeah, just remember your boundless love, okay? I'm going to read this one more time, and I really want you to let it stick in your head. So today I'll open my eyes a little wider and walk a little taller, noticing that the world around me is filled with tiny miracles. With this in mind, it's easy to fall in love over and over again with everything from honeybees, neon signs, and neon signs. And while I'm feeling this inspired and this in love, everything else sort of falls into place. So remember, guys, sorry, what's happening here? Anyway, so remember, guys, and ladies or whatever, just remember everybody. Look for the miracle in everything, whether it's the flower on the side of the freeway that you have no idea how it started growing, or maybe the group of flowers that started growing, or and just just as a hint, it's probably the birds, because the birds have a tendency to eat seeds and then replant them in other places, if you know what I mean, which I love, right? Because I mean, in springtime, the miracle of growth is going to come back. You know, we drive down the freeways and you see all these beautiful blooms. I know in England, and I was just a week early for it, but they have what they call, well, my friend said they called it the fields of gold, and it's just all this beautiful, just like, I don't know, just expanse of like yellow flowers, I guess. And then we have the super bloom in California, near our mountains, during the spring. So as hard as I know winter can be for some people, and because I mean, I can't really complain, because like I said, we get sun all the time. I mean, we get more sun than we get seasons. And so when we have cloudy days like this, they bring me joy. But I also don't have to live in it. But I don't know. I really love it. I really love it. But just remind yourself, okay? Even when the sun isn't out, you are the sunshine. You are the miracle. I mean, if we really stop and think about it, whether we've, had to fight for our lives as children, or even just being born, even just being born is a miracle, right? Because not everybody gets that chance. Not all babies, make it. And so just, being born and being born super healthy, that's the miracle. Or just being born, period, is the miracle. What a woman's body can do is just amazing and incredible, right? They grow these babies inside of them. So that's a miracle, being able to go outside and, do whatever you can, walk, drive, whatever. That's a miracle for a lot of us, because a lot of people don't have that. I know people who can't drive. I know people who won't drive because they panic, and that's unfortunate. But my grandmother never learned how to drive. But I mean, that's a miracle in itself. All these little things that we take for granted, really, when we look at them, are tiny miracles. Including the honeybees, including the neon signs, the stoplight on the corner, the stop sign on the other end of the corner, all these different things. Yes, as Sammy said, miracles are everywhere. Miracles truly are everywhere. Glasses are miracles. Can you imagine like 300 years ago walking around just like, really? So I mean, well, I don't know why I haven't worn contacts again, but baby sibling told me, she's all like, no, your glasses are kind of the face of your show. So, okay. But I really do love wearing my glasses now. I hated it when I was a kid, because we were always made fun of, and 4 eyes and this, that, and the other. And kids were mean. All right. I'm not going to lie. I was bullied as a kid, and they suck. But you know what? I rose above eventually. decades later. But yeah, I rose above. Still not going to say it doesn't hurt, because, you know, people suck sometimes. But you know what? If you are being bullied, if you're one of those people right now being bullied, walk away. Walk away. You know what? They're just trying to make themselves feel better. And, you know, they can try and bring you down, but don't let them. Don't let them. Sometimes taking your power back is the hardest thing to do, but it's also the biggest thing you can do. And it might cause them to bully you a little bit more, but whatever you do, stand tall, stand straight. I'm going to tell you a quick story, all right, about bullies. I told this one before, but it always makes me laugh because this is not the person I knew. But And my mom never relayed this story to me. My grandfather told me, and my mom's best friend told me after she passed. But my grandfather told me when I was a kid. So my mom was being bullied by some boy at school. And so she came home and she asked my grandfather to teach her how to defend herself. The next time he pulled her braids or whatever he did, like physically touched her, she turned around and popped him in the face. Not that I'm saying violence is the way to handle things, but she tried everything else. They even tried telling the teacher. They did everything. And this kid was just relentless and would not stop. So, that being said, she just popped him one. Like I said, probably not the way I would suggest handling things, but sometimes sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. All right. I'm not saying go out there and beat the shit out of people, because that's not right. You know, but sometimes, you know, she did everything. She exhausted all her options. No one did anything about it. And we find that a lot today, right? Where nobody does anything about it. You know, kids are either afraid to stand up and say something because, you know, they don't want to get in trouble, or they don't want to be bullied any further, or they don't want to be made fun of. I saw a couple of shows this weekend where they were afraid to come forward because they were afraid what the kids in school would say. So if you're a kid in school watching this and you see someone getting bullied, if you feel strong enough to do so, you know, you don't have to stand up to the bully, but you can actively remove that person from the situation, you know, and whatever happens after that, you know, maybe you make a new friend. Maybe you show someone the kindness that they deserve or they feel like they don't get. I would have loved if, you know, I actually did have one friend finally stand up for me when I was being bullied. Unfortunately, she left that school the following year. But in that year, you know, it was helpful because it showed me that somebody cared. And that's what boundless love is. Boundless love is showing people that we care. It's the aloha of the entire world. Because remember, aloha has no bounds. Aloha has no bounds. It's compassion, it's empathy, it's kindness. And that's what boundless love is. It isn't just looking for the tiny miracles and everything. It's looking at everything through the eyes of love. Now, I'm not saying that we can't be angry about things. I'm not saying that we can't, you know, fight back, you know, not necessarily with our hands and fists, okay? But that doesn't mean that we can't push back against things that are wrong. Register to vote. But what I'm saying is that sometimes you have to figure out how to stand up to the bully. And when we learn how to do that, we can take our lives back, and we can take a lot of other things back. Wink, wink. Register to vote. Sorry, I can't resist. Anyway, yeah, so now I'm just rambling. So, boundless love, guys, all right? Don't just look for the tiny miracles. The entire planet is a miracle. We're a miracle. You know, everything that we have and everything that we own and everything that surrounds us, our little fur babies, our little water babies, whatever, you know, pet baby you have, they're miracles. You know, everything is a miracle on this planet. And we just have to see it. And sometimes we have to push through all the ickiness, the ugliness, the mucky, icky stuff to find it. But we can do that. We can do that. All right. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so, so much for watching. I will see you back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Time, Facebook Live. All lives are public under Shelly Marie Lucas. Anybody can watch. You can find me across the social media board on Instagram. I'm under GoalieFan1973 or Shelly Marie Lucas. On YouTube, I am, I think it's the Aloha Perspective with Shelly Marie Lucas, but you can find me under Shelly Marie. Twitter, Shellbell's Quest, and Blue Sky and Threads, I think is just my name, Shelly Marie Lucas. But anyways, and TikTok, I think it's the Aloha Perspective. So you can find me at all those places. The reason I kind of named them out is because I do have an Aloha Perspective on Instagram, but it's kind of defunct right now because I just haven't had the energy to put into it, which is bad. But, you know, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And I also keep just forgetting about it. So... So anyways, have a wonderful, wonderful day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for kind of riding this roller coaster of Shelly Marie's whatever this was. But I hope my message was in there somewhere. Okay, I hope the message for all of us was in there. Just look for the boundless love in the world. Okay, the world is a miracle. All right. So have a great day. Thank you, Sammy, cousin Lorene, and older sibling for popping on. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. And everybody else out there that's watching later, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day or evening. Have a great day or evening.